It's morning here at Church Road, and I just wanted to give an update of the garden and also discuss a couple things about my method of pest control and also what I'm using for fertilizer. There's been a few questions about fertilizer, so I'm going to go into that really quick. I was told a couple things about fertilizer that you want to use the most organic thing, of course, as possible, because if you're trying to do an organic gardening, that just makes sense. Okay, so I am using the Alaska fish fertilizer. I'm in the way. It's a 511, and I got it at Walmart, I think, either Walmart or Home Depot, and it's pretty basic. You just add a tablespoon per gallon or something like that, and you just feed a little bit to each plant, and they just love it. They go crazy. A couple of YouTube channel people that I follow have recommended it, and so that's what I was using, and I'm not disappointed at all. So I'm using that fertilizer. Then for pest control, I try not to have to do very much. I pull off bugs as I see them if they're little, but then sometimes squash bugs can get a little overwhelming, and so I make this homemade potion out of oil. No, you can use any oil, that just helps it to stay on the leaves, but there's oil, about a quarter cup, I would say, for this spray bottle, maybe a little less. And then I add a couple squirts of Dawn dishwashing liquid. I add a cap or two full of apple cider vinegar, 10 drops of peppermint, 10 drops of eucalyptus, and 10 drops of lemongrass in there. And I try that first to see if that will work, and so far it's been doing pretty good. There's other bugs that maybe aren't resistant to that formula, but for the most part, that's pretty much what I'm using. And then I just lightly spray it. Like I said, it's morning here, and so you want to spray it probably in the evening, I would think. I'm not going to spray it right now. Sometime when the sun's not beating down on it, or isn't going to beat down on it until after it's dried. You don't want to cook your plants. And I would use as little of that as possible to achieve what you need to achieve. But the garden is doing really good. Some of the tomatoes have really bounced back and are really starting to show some improvement. I'll walk around this other side. There's the asparagus beans are getting tall, and look at this gigantic gourd bush, or do you call it a bush or a plant? Gigantic gourd plant, and it's really happy to be here. Here's a couple of the gourds on it. There's one big one right there, and yeah, I don't know what kind of gourds they're going to be because it was a multi-pack. So there's that. And I just keep pushing the vines through, helping it to climb a little bit. There's peppers. Maybe we can see some of the squash bugs. I don't think there's any left, really. I just really get into them. In order to see what's going on in your garden, a lot of times you have to just really get into the jungle. You have to get underneath and really just sit there for a while, like right here. They're hiding right there. See those little squash bugs right there? No, they're hiding from me. Here, I'll push them around this side so you can see them. And they're mating on top of it. So, little rats. I'm gonna take them off and throw them. I don't really like touching them, but I will save my plants if I have to. And then I tell them, go away. So there you go. I wouldn't even have known those bugs were there, and they're reproducing all over the place. So that's what I do for pests. And then I'm gonna come around here and show you a couple of the tomatoes. Let's see, where were they? Eliana, my granddaughter, found them and pointed them out to me. She's right down at that level. And I don't see where they are now. I can't find them. Oh, there's one just starting. 2 of them right there. Here, and there's one right there starting. This is the Bonnie original. So similar to a early girl, I think. And it's early, so you kind of know. It's got to be getting to be around 9 o'clock because I'm seeing my shadow a little more here. This plant was doing really poorly, and I took off a bunch of the thick leaves, and really it's just all of a sudden putting out all these blooms, and it looks amazing. It looks like it's much happier. So this one I did the same. I took off all the really big, well, not all of them. You can see there's a few here, but just all the bottom ones that I could, and left some, and it's starting to put out flowers now, and it's looking much healthier. So, I mean, there's hope that I'm gonna get a good crop of tomatoes still after all of that. But, and I'm very thankful, because I was so sad. Every day I come out here and I just sit in my garden and hang out and listen to the little critters making noise, and crickets and the birds, and I just really enjoy my time in here. Here's the pepper is getting really big and stripy. Here's one right here. Isn't that cool? They're just really variegated. There's a bunch of them coming on this plant. There's the big one right there. Look at that. Isn't that cute? Bunch of peppers coming on. This bush over here, it's starting to go crazy. It's going on to the other side of the trellis and going out to the tomatoes. So I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with that, because it's really crowded on this trellis. I think I planted too many. I don't remember how many I planted, but I'm guessing there was at least 3, and there should have been probably 1. And I also thinned these and gave them to a friend, because I've never had anything come up quite so heavily before in a garden. I mean, you know, you get your 2 or 3, or at least I do. I'm not very good at gardening, so I just really overplanted, I guess, and figured I would thin, and I did. I gave a bunch. I mean, I gave like a whole garden away just about that was extra. And so, I mean, even with this ground that had some kind of something in it, some kind of poison, Roundup, I don't know what it had in it. So this year we aren't going to be able to consider these organic because of that. But even with that, and I was so devastated thinking that I wasn't going to get any fruit out of this garden, and it actually is one of the best gardens I think I've ever had. I mean, literally, it is just growing gangbusters. And so even though the tomatoes and the peppers were curled up and had some issues with it, because they're very sensitive, it could have been just a very little bit of that herbicidal, but they're very sensitive, and they're going to show you first if there's any like overdraft of herbicides that's hit them or anything like that. But they've really bounced back, so I'm excited about that. I was going to show you something about my strawberries. I went to water one of these hanging strawberries yesterday or the day before, and when I touched it, it just crashed down to the ground. So there went all my strawberries in there. I don't think they're gonna make it. And there's one right here that stayed in, but it's not doing very good. But if you can see right here, it kind of went through the wire, just came right through the post. So a couple things to learn about these. These are the fence slats that you can buy at Home Depot for super cheap, like $2 or something. And they are good, but they do warp when you start watering them. They bow. And so we were using a nail gun or a brad gun, staples, and that's not sufficient for these. They need to be screwed in because they will just fall apart. And then also, when you're making the hole to hang them with, reinforce that. This is just like 3 slats, so use one for one side, one for the other, one for the bottom, and then you take the ends off the slat and use them right here to hang. And they're such a cute idea, but yet they don't hold up in the wind and the watering. So that's something to think about too. And I think there was one other thing that I wanted to cover about do's and don'ts. I can't remember what it was now, but yeah, I'll put it on the next video. There's my dog. She's working hard, isn't she? Breezy, are you working hard? Bree, are you working hard? Yeah, she's going to be having puppies soon. We bred her, and she is purebred standard silver party poodle. We're excited. She likes her boyfriend very much. We took a lot of care in finding a good guy for her, and that was health tested. She's health tested. We're really excited. So in 60 some days we should be having puppies. So yeah, if you're interested in that, give me a call. Give me an email. You can't call me. I don't think you know my number, but look up highmesastandards.com and you can contact me through there. And thanks for hanging out with me for the morning. Have a great day. God bless you.